Why do we need a parameter for sprite index in Gamemaker Studio 2 sequences? And how would they work? I'm glad I asked. If we take a look here, I've already created this cutscene in a longer video where I go into detail on the same topic. However, I just want this to be a nice, short, concise video showing the difference between how the sequences function now and what they could actually be if the potential is realized. So we have this cutscene animation that we made here, very basic. Character walks up, reads a sign, moves in dramatic fashion, jumps, and destroys the ball and saves the universe. Now, we're using 6 separate layers or 6 separate tracks to create this one character because we're using instances of all these different sprites to create the animation. Now, as you see, we're actually using sprite walk 3 separate times, and that has to create a new track every time you use it, which is inefficient. It's difficult to match the movement speeds since they each have their own position to move separately while trying to create a singular character. It also makes it very difficult when you have to try to line up the different tracks to make sure that there's no gaps or overlaps in your sprites on the timeline. So right here we can see there's actually a slight time overlap where we would have to go in, we'd have to zoom in so we can get a more precise measuring of the sprites. And there we go. And then right here it seems that we also have a gap that was created by just not lining them up properly, not taking the time to zoom in, zoom out. It takes a lot of time to build an animation this way, so we would have to come in and again line it up until, oops, that's too much. So we want that to stop right there. So there's no gap in between. Okay, there we go. So we've corrected the issues, but we can already see that this could be a very time-consuming process with a much more complex animation. What I have here is I've done an artist rendition of what it could look like if we were to have sprite index as another parameter that could be applied to, let's say, a sprite track or an object track. So it would work the same way as any other parameter works, where you would have the ability to keyframe them, and at any keyframe you can change the sprite index. So therefore, if we hit play here, so we can see that the animation is a lot smoother because we were using the same track to create all of the animation for this one character. We can control the position, speed, rotation, scale, pretty much everything that character needs to do, we control it in one track. We have our sprite index here, which we would be allowed to change the sprite index whenever we create a keyframe. So as you can see, there's a keyframe at every change of our sprite index. And what would be really nice is if you were to double click on the keyframes, or when you create a new keyframe on the track panel, it could very easily pop open a window just like the object sprite window when you get to select your sprites for an object. And you simply come in, you say I would like it to be this one, and that adds a keyframe on our dope sheet timeline that would change the sprite index. So if we compare, this is Gamemaker now. We've got 9 layers total to create this animation. And if we were to have the sprite index as a parameter, we only need 4 layers, which will keep the size of our sequences down. It'll keep it a lot more organized as well. But not only that, I would have been able to create the same animation that took me 15 minutes in Gamemaker's sequences as they are now. I could have created that with the sprite index parameter probably in about 3 to 5 minutes. So the time save would be huge as well. So I really would love to see this become a part of the new sequences. It will make it an incredibly powerful tool, and I'm just so excited to see the progress and the potential of sequences be reached. Thank you